Today on NewsWatch, President-elect Donald Trump lays out his agenda. Hear what his official plans are for his first 100 days in office. Plus, Trump's victory is expected to bring big changes to the Middle East. Why it could mean a two-state talk between Israel and the Palestinians comes to an end. And a football great who says God made him tough. Dallas Cowboys star Jason Witten opens up about the abuse of his childhood and how he's fighting a good fight against domestic abuse. And thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Efrem Graham. It has been 2 weeks since voters elected Donald Trump president of the United States. Now, for the first time, he is laying out his agenda for his first 100 days in office. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Donald Trump took to YouTube to highlight plans for the beginning of his presidency. In his 2.5-minute video, he says he wants to put America first and create wealth and jobs for American workers. To do this, he's asking his team to develop a list of executive actions he can take on day one.
On trade, I am going to issue our notification of intent to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a potential disaster for our country. Instead, we will negotiate fair bilateral trade deals that bring jobs and industry back onto American shores. On energy, I will cancel job-killing restrictions on the production of American energy, including shale energy and clean coal, creating many millions of high-paying jobs. That's what we want. That's what we've been waiting for. On regulation, I will formulate a rule which says that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. So important.
He also spoke about protecting America from cyber attacks and other attacks, cracking down on lobbying in Washington, and one of his signature issues in his campaign.
On immigration, I will direct the Department of Labor to investigate all abuses of visa programs that undercut the American worker.
Trump also met with many of the top figures in TV news on Monday, where he reportedly blasted top executives and well-known anchors and reporters from NBC, ABC, and CBS and cable news networks. The New York Post reports Trump kept saying, "We're in a room of liars, the deceitful, dishonest media who got it all wrong." He addressed everyone in the room, calling the media dishonest, deceitful liars. He called out CNN's Jeff Zucker by name and said everyone at CNN was a liar and CNN was a network of liars. Trump is still meeting with possible members of his cabinet, including former Texas Governor Rick Perry, former Massachusetts Senator Scott Brown, Hawaii Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, and Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin, who could be Secretary of the Interior. Fallin was a recent guest on the 700 Club, where she talked about Trump's plan for energy independence.
I would much rather buy produced oil, gas, coal, whatever the energy source might be, from within the United States, than to go to foreign countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Venezuela, other countries that produce energy and produce oil, and to buy it from them. I'd rather spend it in the United States, employ Americans, and be able to take care of ourselves.
President-elect Trump still has nearly 2 months to go before he takes office, but he's making it clear that he intends to hit the ground running right from the beginning. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
The U.S. State Department has issued a travel warning for Americans who plan to spend time in Europe during the holidays. The warning comes after credible information ISIS and al-Qaeda have planned attacks for Europe during the holiday season. State Department officials are warning travelers to avoid large crowds and be cautious at tourist sites. Just this weekend, French anti-terrorism police arrested 7 men accused of plotting a terrorist attack on France. French police have detained 418 people this year in terrorism investigations. Authorities in New York have arrested a 37-year-old Brooklyn man accused of supporting ISIS and plotting a Thanksgiving Day attack. Sources say Mohammed Rafiq Najee considered an attack on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and he talked about a potential terrorist truck attack like the one that killed dozens of people in Nice, France. Federal prosecutors say Najee traveled to Yemen in 2015 to join ISIS. New York police say they are setting up barriers to prevent a truck attack at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Donald Trump's election is having a major impact around the world, including the Middle East and especially in Israel. The peace process has focused on offering the Palestinians their own state side by side with Israel. Now that could be changing. Chris Mitchell brings us that report now from Jerusalem.
Many Israelis hope an incoming Trump administration will lead to a major change in addressing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
The combination of the changes in the United States, in Europe, and the region provide Israel with a unique opportunity to reset and rethink everything.
Since the 1993 Oslo Accords, Israel and the Palestinians aim to resolve their conflict in part by establishing a Palestinian state in biblical Judea and Samaria, also known as the West Bank.
That direction would ultimately lead to a divided Jerusalem and the eviction of thousands of Israelis. Israeli Education Minister Naftali Bennett, however, raised the stakes when he said Trump's election could signal the end of the two-state solution.
It's no secret that I think that the notion of setting up a Palestine in the heart of Israel is a profound mistake. We have to bring alternative, new ideas instead of the Palestinian state approach.
Despite years of countless failures, including violent Palestinian uprisings, rocket attacks on Israel, and war in Gaza, the notion of the two-state solution remained. Signs of that situation possibly changing include comments from Trump advisor Jason Greenblatt, saying that Israeli settlements in Judea and Samaria are not a stumbling block to peace. Trump himself has pledged to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and move the U.S. embassy there from Tel Aviv, a move promised for more than 20 years by various candidates without any fulfillment. Former Ambassador Itamar Rubinovich believes such a move would meet with mixed reactions.
There will be happiness on the Israeli side, there will be unhappiness on the Arab-Palestinian side. There may be riots, there may be violence.
Former Israeli ambassador to the EU and Jordan, Oded Iran, tells CBN News Washington needs a fresh analysis of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
There will have to be an assessment of what didn't work with the Palestinians in the previous attempts and to come up with a new paradigm that may be more successful in attaining a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Iran says it's important the new president finds new ways to resolve the conflict. In Israel, the feeling is Prime Minister Netanyahu should push the new president for change because no one is more pro-Israel than the people who live here. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here in the United States, a Chattanooga bus driver has been arrested after crashing a school bus and killing 6 children. 24-year-old Jonathan Walker was driving 35 elementary school children Monday afternoon when the bus flipped over and became mangled in a tree.
Jonathan Walker is being charged with 5 counts of vehicular homicide, reckless endangerment, and reckless driving.
Chattanooga police believe that he was driving too fast. 14 people were injured after a magnitude 7.4 earthquake hit near Fukushima, Japan. At least 3 people were seriously injured with broken bones. The quake triggered moderate tsunamis, but nothing high enough to cause major damage. Thousands were told to evacuate the area. The earthquake was the largest in the region since the 2011 quake that killed 18,000 people and damaged a nuclear plant. BBC reports officials say there is no sign of damage to the nuclear plant at this time. Franklin Graham recently held a 3-day gospel festival in Myanmar in Southeast Asia. About 170,000 people attended and more than 7,600 responded to the gospel. The huge Christian event was an historic first for the mostly Buddhist nation, and hundreds of churches came together in the process.
There are around 500 churches in Yangon, and for this festival, 440 churches participated. The most challenging part was we come from different denominations with different ways of doing things, and it was really hard negotiating. But by the grace and strength from God, we have finally understood one another. We have put our differences aside. We are united and we shall focus only on God's ministry.
Franklin Graham told CBN a lot has changed in Yangon since the first time he visited the country back in the 1980s.
To come today and to see the country changing and to see people having freedoms that they did not have 20, 30 years ago, I rejoice. And so as I come this week, I'm coming just to preach a very simple gospel, that God loves us. He loves all the people of Myanmar.
The churches that took part in the Myanmar festival prayed fervently for a year and a half leading up to this event. Still to come here on NewsWatch, facts about the first Thanksgiving that may surprise you. From pumpkin pie to lobster, find out what was and wasn't on the first Thanksgiving menu. Americans will be doing more than digging into that turkey this Thanksgiving. They'll be praying as well. That is according to the 2016 MEOC's Thanksgiving survey. When asked about saying grace before the big Thanksgiving feast, 56% of Americans say they always pray before their meal. Meanwhile, 27% of Americans say they pray sometimes. And 17% say praying just isn't part of their Thanksgiving tradition. The 2016 MEOC's Thanksgiving survey is conducted nationwide with over 1,000 participants. We Americans think we know a lot about the first Thanksgiving, happy pilgrims wearing big buckles and feasting on big fat turkeys. The facts are actually more fascinating than fiction. Paul Strain has more on that Thanksgiving feast from Plymouth Plantation.
The Pilgrims' first days and first feast in America are shrouded in conjecture and folklore, like the most famous object associated with their landing at Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Right inside that structure is the famous Plymouth Rock. Though many folks doubt there actually was a rock, and if there was, that it was exactly there.
But we do know the Pilgrims started building a small village like this faithful recreation at Plymouth Plantation, even as the harsh winter of 1620 was killing half their number.
And only had 51 of 102 people left at the end of that season.
Leo Martin and his wife Nancy not only run the faith-based Jenny Museum in Plymouth, but also serve as pilgrim role players. Martin says the survivors of that winter went on to plant crops that grew well enough they knew they wouldn't starve. So it was time for Thanksgiving.
They developed enough food to make it through the next winter, and they thought that they ought to thank God for that.
For we desired a special manner of rejoicing, the Lord having sustained us for a year and brought in such a goodly harvest.
One of the only two pilgrims to write of that first Thanksgiving was Edward Winslow. His words about the preparations brought alive for CBN News by a Plymouth Plantation interpreter.
The very first feast that we had in these parts, our governor sent 4 men on fowling, and in just some small hours, them 4 men were able to take enough wildfowl to feed our company for a week.
In Plymouth's annual Thanksgiving parade, they envision the giant plump turkeys modern folks imagine the Pilgrims dined upon. Actually, their turkeys were wild, lean, and mean.
I find that the turkeys here of New England, they are a bit different than those that lived on the dung hills back home into England, but they are a toothsome bird.
Another sure fact, these grateful Englishmen didn't dine alone, because they knew they wouldn't have made it without the Indians, or Setchums as Winslow called them.
Not only did the Native Americans have to show them what could grow in this radically different soil, they had to teach these city dwellers from the old world how to hunt and how to fish in this new world.
They felt that Massasoit, the chief of the Wampanoag Indians, was so instrumental in their survival that they should invite Massasoit and his immediate family to that celebration, and they did.
But Massasoit misunderstood a bit.
While we were feasting and making of sports and exercising our arms, amongst us come the great Setchum Massasoit and about 90 of his men.
Martin points out that could have wiped out all the Pilgrim supplies, but the chief and his braves brought plenty of food with them.
Venison, turkey, fish, vegetables, and together they had enough food for a 3-day celebration where they honored one another and became better friends.
Nora Messier, Plymouth Plantation's food expert.
Most likely there was fish on the first Thanksgiving table, as we now refer to it, possibly lobsters. We know that when the natives arrived, they brought with them venison, something not many of us put on our Thanksgiving tables today.
We'd put pumpkin pie on our tables. Messier showed CBN News what the Pilgrims would have done instead.
One of the things that, of course, most people would say, you can't have Thanksgiving without your pumpkin pie. What I'm going to be doing here is exactly what we know they did frequently in New England. The ancient standing dish is called stewed pompion. Pompian is the period term for the pumpkin.
The pilgrims would dice it and stew it into sort of a mush.
Eventually, you're going to add just a splash of vinegar and a little bit of ginger. And supposedly, it's going to taste like stewed apples, something that was definitely not on the first Thanksgiving table. No apples in New England.
They were huge on stuffing, but it took a lot more labor.
Raisins, up until recently, had seeds in them still. Imagine picking out all of those seeds.
And they'd season it with herbs brought all the way from England, like thyme, hyssop, and parsley.
We believe that the things they're growing in their kitchen gardens in the 17th century are primarily things that had been brought over from England. They're trying to bring home with them. They're trying to make New England feel like Old England.
Which is maybe why a fellow like Winslow would have preferred something better than those skinny New England turkeys.
In truth, my greatest delight is a goose, for I do love its great fatness.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Plymouth, Massachusetts.
He's one of football greats, and he's trying to stop the violence off the field. Hear how Cowboys' Jason Witten is helping victims of domestic abuse. Next. The Dallas Cowboys are on a hot 9-game winning streak, and once again, they'll be playing on Thanksgiving Day. This time against the Washington Redskins as the all-pro tight end for the Cowboys. Jason Witten has earned his place among the game's elite. But his most important work doesn't come from catching passes and blocking defenders. Off the field, Jason is working to end domestic violence because, as he told Tom Buring, its issue is personal.
Jason Witten is catching passes at a historic rate, all under the long-revered trademark of the Dallas Cowboys.
What is it about that iconic Lone Star on your helmet?
There's a tradition with the star. This is a team that was built on foundation, Tom Landry. The standard here is to be the best in everything that you do on the field, but how you carry yourself off the field as well. And this star is global, and I think there's some respect that comes with that in trying to be your best.
The 13-year veteran is among the best. The 10-time Pro Bowl player ranks second in all-time career receptions and receiving yards by an NFL tight end. Jason has become a cornerstone for the Cowboys franchise.
I believe wholeheartedly in the process of becoming great. Greatness is a characteristic that is not easy. Being a leader, a guy that can show it and demand it and set the standard every day of what we want to accomplish through success and also through adversity.
Toughness has become his trademark. He's the league's all-time leader for consecutive starts by a tight end, with a streak that began back in 2006.
Durability and toughness. We hear that about you over and over. Where does that come from?
God's blessed me with that. That's being able to be mentally tough and to control your thoughts, and I believe in that. See through the dark days, and God's shown me that in my own life. That's not only how you play football, that's how you live life.
Surprisingly, it's an all-pro strength the tight end discovered the hard way, away from the football field, at home, as a boy, while enduring the pain and consequence of domestic abuse.
It impacted my childhood a lot, and my mom was a strong woman to handle what she went through, and it's tough. My dad was somebody we loved, but on a handful of days, it was your worst nightmare. The pain was deep, it was real. It was something we felt. Seeing others go through pain, such as your mom. I can remember being in the bedroom and just thinking, when's this gonna end?
It did when he was 11. Jason's mom left with her 3 sons to move in with her parents. His grandfather, Dave Ryder, became his father figure. The legendary high school football coach was also the first to mentor Jason as a player.
They were just a great example in our life. What characteristics you wanna have, and more than that, they're the ones that took us to church and led us to a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what changed our life. We're forever grateful for that.
Gratitude that has turned toward giving, reaching thousands of lives. The Jason Witten Score Foundation provides support to individuals and assistance to families affected by abuse.
My support in stopping domestic violence is unwavering. And I think as athletes, I really believe big, strong, physical men that have national spotlight, that's our platform. That's our duty, is to speak out.
The younger victims, what's the biggest thing that they're facing?
They feel like they're hopeless, and they think something's wrong with them. And why am I messed up? I just try to provide hope and say that you are beautiful, you are smart. Provide avenues for these moms to get back on their feet and encourage them that your family is going to be okay. And I think that comes with the perspective of knowing who Jesus Christ is, that He's your Savior, and that you got to have faith that God's grace is amazing.
With it, Jason has learned to sidestep the trappings that come with resentment.
If I talk about my life and overcoming the obstacles, I think it was truly finding forgiveness. It allows you to grow and move forward in your own life. And so if I didn't have that, I don't think I would have been able to have the career I've had, the family I've had, because there would have been a lot of resentment. And it didn't come easy. It took time. I'm thankful for being able to forgive. And the freedom that comes with that is an amazing feeling.
He's a special player. Some people say it, but they don't necessarily have the actions behind it, and he does. And we're all given grace by the Lord, so no one's perfect. But Jason's about as close as I see, so he's awesome.
While this Cowboy great rides on to football success, the tight end who has overcome adversity is redefining what greatness is.
To be able to see, truly understand redemption, you have to go through it. When you constantly go to your relationship with Jesus, you understand that He is the way. And in my life, the redemption part of it is to be able to say, we went through it, we forgave, and now look at our family, look at our life, and the people that we're reaching. I think it's always better to give and have an understanding that that's what greatness is all about.
Time now for your Tuesday Tweetable. Consider this as you prepare for the holidays that can sometimes be filled with drama. God promises you peace that surpasses all understanding. He's given it to you. Now, you must remember, your peace of mind is a priceless gift. Protect it at all costs and refuse to allow anyone to take it from you. With that word, make this a terrific Tuesday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make this a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.